This is the Firewire Wingnut Noserider. I have reviewed it in the past, but now the camera and the mic's a little bit better. I thought I'd redo it because it seemed to be quite a popular review, and people seem to quite like the Firewire longboards, which is a good call because they're good boards. So yeah, the Firewire Wingnut Noserider is 9.0, 22 and 7/8, 3 1/4, and it's running 73.4 litres. So I'll tell you a little story later on, but I'll go through the board first. I'll tell you a story about why this is my second Wingnut Noserider, but we'll do that later. So as you can see, there's a lot of thickness in the board. It's pretty much a down rail all the way through. The rocker's pretty flat, and the outline is from kind of a Noserider nose shape pulling into a little bit more of a performance tail. So this has been really good board because it sort of bridges the gap between that performance all round longboard and a traditional, what you'd call a traditional longboard basically. So you've got you've still got the single fin, you've still got a flat rocker, but there's not many boards that have actually got a proper what you call a standard rail or a down rail. So your rail's like a bit more, the actual rail points a lot closer to the bottom as opposed to being like really rounded, which a lot of the traditional boards are. So yeah, it's as I say, it's a very, very different board from a lot of what's out there. There's not many boards that would have this much volume up front and this thinner tail and this much of a pulled in tail. So what I find is it's really good in the small slow waves that we get. It paddles really well for a 9-foot board. I mean, I don't find much in between this and the 9.4s that I've ridden. The rocker's so flat, and there's so much volume up in this middle section under your chest and head that it's just a great paddler. It can be a little bit temperamental. It takes probably a week to find the sweet spot, but once you've got it, it's fine. It's quite a flat rocker, so you need to get used to being in the right spot, and just as you're paddling, you almost need to look and make sure there's at least like two inches of nose rocker sticking out. So there's a bit of a sweet spot, but once you've got that sweet spot, it paddles really well and it's very efficient and it gets into waves very well. So if you do get one and you struggle for the first week with a little bit of purling and nose diving, just stick with it, because once you've got it, it's spot on. So yeah, as I say, nice and thick up front, does narrow down a little bit in the nose and then gets really thin in the tail. Plenty of volume in the deck. It's a down rail all the way through. The tail pulls in quite nicely and it's nice and sharp. So yeah, you get easy paddling, early wave entry, you get a lovely smooth bottom turn. That's one of the things I really like about this. There's a feeling coming off your bottom turn on this board that isn't actually replicated on very many boards, because if you've got a high performance all-rounder, they're not going to come out of those around those bottom turns carrying as much speed and holding the rail for as long. And then if you've got a traditional board, a lot of them are like a reverse rocker, so the back end's got quite a lot of rocker to help you nose ride, and you can't really dig the tail in the same. Basically, the design with a big fat square tail with a hip on them, a lot of those boards. So, and I'm not very good at walking the board, so this board is absolutely fantastic if you want a board for small waves. Ideally the waves are probably going to be fairly flat faced. This will handle proper waves as well. I've had it in knee high to definitely overhead. If it was a really hollow wave, you're probably going to start to struggle with the rocker, but you're in so early on this that it's like, on your average waves for your average person, you could ride most waves that you get, but there will be better boards at the higher end. That's all I will say. So yeah, that's pretty much the shape and the outline. Flip her over. I'll just go have another look at the. You can have another look at the template there. See how well it pulls in at the tail. Flip her over. You've got a very simple bottom. I'm not even going to go through and talk about concaves, because to be honest, there's very little in here. You'd actually struggle to see, to be honest. There might be a little bit of V around this back fin, but the bottom of the board is either extremely subtle or virtually flat, which I actually like. So it's a simple board, it's smooth, it rides well. Nice single fin. I've gone for this Captain Finco Christensen tracker in a 9-inch. that feels really good. That just, every time I've tried something else, I've gone back to that because it just has a really good balance of maneuverability and drive. I've had fins that will be more maneuverable but not have the same drive, and fins that will have more drive but not be as maneuverable. So that's been perfect for me. I set it quite far up, which suits me well, and the box is actually quite far forward as well, which is great. I really like that. So this is in the Firewire Timbertek technology. This consists of a EPS core, and then it's got the Polonia deck skin over it. So the Polonia is actually, so you've got a 3mm thick wood skin top and bottom, and then the rails are about 1/2 inch thick of Polonia or Polonia and balsa. So you've still got like the parabolic stringer that you get with the Firewire, the older Firewire FST boards basically, but in this Timbertek skin. So it's yeah, it's got quite a nice flex to it in a long board. In a short board it can be quite a stiff flex, but in a long board it definitely works quite well. Quite you know, it's quite a tough, like the wood, it's quite durable. The wood's quite you know, you got a thick wood, so it's like you're not going to really get pressure dents or anything like you would on a poly. And then the weight is actually not too light and not too heavy. This Wingnut's definitely a heavy board than the Specialty, and then a heavier board than the Gem, and then a heavier board than the likes of the TJ Pro. So they are weighted a little bit. I think they just put a little bit more glass on top of the wood and a bit more resin. So if you're quite used to traditional boards and polyester, and you actually don't like the super lightweight of some of the really light boards, these are well worth a look because you might actually like the weight. One of my friends is like, he really loves like very heavily glass poly boards, and he's been on the fence about these, and he's still keen on looking at one of these because, you know, he's looking at a 9.4, which is going to carry an absolute truckload of volume. But you know, say there's something special about this pulled in tail. So yeah, I think that's about it for this board. Like I say, the story, I forgot about the story. I'm always about the story. So let's say this is my second Wingnut Noserider. So first time around I had the Wingnut Noserider. It was my first time getting back into longboards, and it's actually the board that's really sparked me getting back into longboarding, which is really cool because it's just so much fun and so much glide in the small waves. It just yeah, it got me out there on days when I would have just been frustrated on a short board. So yeah, so that was my first one. When I was looking at it originally, I was 50-50 between this and the Specialty, and then basically I started looking at, well, maybe I should get something a little bit more high performance as well, because I was enjoying the ride basically. So I ended up, someone locally had managed to smash up their Wingnut Noserider. I think it had been on some rocks and stuff. So yeah, he was looking for a replacement and he made me a good offer, so I let him have this, and I tried out the Specialty. So I really enjoyed the Specialty. It's a little bit lighter and performs a little bit better, but it's a different board. So again, depending on what you're looking for, plus minus, you'll lean to one board more than the other anyway. So did that, and I was really enjoying that. And then I was kind of like, I was thinking maybe even something more high performance, because I'm quite enjoying riding longboards now. So yeah, and when the Gem came out, I decided to give the Gem a go. So I grabbed the Gem, and then someone made me a good offer on the Specialty, so I let that one go. And then I was thinking, you know, I got back to thinking I'd quite like something at the different ends. So yeah, so funnily enough, I ended up with this second Wingnut Noserider, which I'm really stoked with. I'm really happy I did, to be fair. So basically, I had the Wingnut Noserider at the small end of the wave range. I'll generally ride this in peeling, clean, 1 to 3 foot waves, and then I'll switch over onto something like the Gem. And I've actually swapped the Gem out now for Thunderbolt Technologies Skin Dog Blender, so that's even more high performance. So yeah, just to give you a bit of background, is just, yeah, you can just fast forward if it's driving you mad, but yeah, just to give you a bit of a guide as to like how some of those boards compare and what I've been through to choose the board. So like I say, you know, this is the strongest board if you want a glidey, cruisy, nice, fun, easy wave catching board for the 1 1 to 3 or 4 foot fairly flat face waves. If you still want a single fin and you'd like a bit more performance and some modern bottom contours and a bit more around volume distribution, you're going to be into the specialty. If you want a sort of semi-high performance all rounder, you're going to be looking at the gem. If you want a really high performance board, you're going to be looking at the TJ Pro, and then if you want something a little bit more traditional style outline but still with modern contours, you're probably looking at the TJ Everyday. So that's my kind of overview of the Firewire range. Interestingly enough, I've just been told apparently Firewire have just bought out the Thunderbolt technology, so that's really interesting because between Firewire and Thunderbolt, they're all my favorite longboards at the minute. So yeah, so that's that for this one. I hope the revisit was good for you guys, and yeah, definitely really recommend this Wingnut Noserider if that's what you're looking for. And the Firewire longboards in general are really good shapes. Timbertek looks really good. You know, you got this wood, you got this lovely wooden you got this lovely wooden skin, and as I say, if you're not into ridiculously light boards, it's a really good choice. So cool, thank you guys, see you soon.